Well, good morning, folks. Or it might be afternoon. It is right at noon. So you pick. Good morning, good afternoon. Have it your way, whatever you want. Okay, so I was minding my own business back here, laying in the fairing compound, sanding, getting it smooth, and I noticed right here on this inboard surface of the float pod, let me pan back just a little bit, I noticed that the fiberglass, it looked a little thin, and I think what actually happened is I was trying to get this area smoothed out. I broke through the fiberglass, and same on this corner right here. Let me get the camera around there. The same on that corner, and the corners are thin enough to start with. I mean, anytime you, like I said in that previous video, about 2 videos ago, your corners are always going to be thin anyway, whenever you're painting or putting down resin. And so it didn't take just a whole lot of work to break through that. So what I did this morning was I built this back up with some more fiberglass, and I did the same thing over here because what I do to one side I'm going to do to the other to keep it all symmetrical. And I was getting a little bit thin here also, not as much as I did over here on this side, but yeah, I had probably got a little too aggressive with the sanding, and I did break through in a few areas. So just built that back up with some more glass. We should be okay. Everything you see here, the fairing compound, the fiberglass, resin, it's all epoxy based, and as a matter of fact, as you well know, the red mud here, I use the same epoxy that I use to lay in fiberglass, so we should be okay. I'm not concerned about any issues with delamination. All right, folks, that's all I have for you for right now. Let me back up and say thank you for clicking on this video, and thank you to all my subscribers. We're over 100 subs now, so and I want to make sure to always thank you for watching, and thank you for subscribing. I don't want to neglect that, but that's it for now. I'm just going to have to wait for that to fire off, and then I will get the edges sanded. You know, I've talked about that in the past. You know, I always have to edge sand the little pieces of fiberglass, and then we'll get that faired out. We'll keep on rocking on with the fairing. So I will see you here in the next segment. Stay tuned. Okay, folks, welcome back. And it's been a few days since I recorded that last segment, and the reason for that is I have just been out here working on the bottom of the boat, just a section or two at a time, getting it sanded smooth, identifying the areas where I might need to come back and apply just a little bit more fairing compound. And so yeah, that's what's been keeping me busy. It's a lot of just tedious detail work, and like I said, I just identify the areas where I might need to come back, hit it with a little bit more of the fairing compound, like right here. Now I can feel that. I can feel the fiberglass right there. So I'll take that system 3, and I'll come back over that and then sand it smooth. But like I said, I'm just working it a section at a time. I'm almost completely finished with this side of the boat and both of the float pods. And so I'm just working my way back around now up this side, and I'm almost done with the bow too. I've got a couple of little spots up here where I need to come back again. That red mud just sort of soaked in, so I'm going to hit that with that System 3 fairing compound and fill up that weave, and then sand it smooth. Like I said, a lot of tedious work, a lot of time-consuming work, and so I'm just going to keep after it. All right, we will see you in the next segment. Okay, folks, I'm back. And like I mentioned before, quite often after I have laid down that red mud and come back and sand it, I end up with some thinner areas like that, some low spots like you see here. And so once again, just like I did over here, I'm going to go ahead and take you through the way that I resolve that with the System 3. And of course I just put a really light glaze coat on that. That just sort of levels it off. Like I said, we're not looking to build up any material. We're just looking to fill the any pinholes, any low spots, and to cover up thin areas. All right, I'll be right back. Alright, so we got that glazed over, and just a little spot right there. What I do is I try to put a little bit of an arch in this paddle when I scrape this glazing compound, or fairing compound I should say, across the hull, and that's so I don't end up with those streaks that are caused by the corners of the paddle. Just like that. And just like that, that's gone. Alright, so time to go to work now. I'm going to go ahead and let this fire off. I'll get out here tonight, sand on it, and we'll just keep on keeping on. Alright folks, see you later. Okay folks, welcome back. As I'm sure most of you know by now, this past week we had a hurricane cut through Florida. Hurricane Ian. It made landfall somewhere in the Fort Myers area, maybe just a little bit north of Fort Myers, and just cut a path all the way through Florida, going up to Orlando and the Daytona Beach area over there on the Atlantic side. My son lives in Port Orange, which is just a few minutes south of Daytona Beach, and Port Orange got hit pretty hard. They got a lot of rain and wind damage, and actually what happened to them is very reminiscent of what happened down in Houston with Hurricane Harvey a few years ago. They just got a lot of heavy rain for several hours, just like what Harvey did when it hit the Houston area. I think it was back in 2016, maybe 2017, when Harvey went through there. And as a result, there's been a lot of flooding in Daytona Beach and Port Orange. Fortunately, my son, he must have bought a house on one of the few areas of high ground there in Port Orange. He came through it almost unscathed. Well, I don't want to say he came through it unscathed, because he did sustain some damage. There's some wind damage on his roof. He did get some water damage to his house from wind-driven rain. I mean, it's just like turning a fire hose on the side of your house. I mean, when you have the rain being driven at over 100 miles an hour. Like I said, it was a Cat 1 storm by the time it reached them, even though it made landfall on the other side of the state. But like I said, he was one of the fortunate ones. His house did not flood, and that is a blessing. Yeah, there's a lot of people in his neighborhood where he lives who have been tearing out their carpet. They've been hauling mattresses out to the side of the road, because that stuff's just all trash now. And so, like I said, he was fortunate. He did not sustain any damage from flooding. However, like I said, a lot of his neighbors, they weren't so lucky. Now, the water did rise up just to within inches of his foundation, and he's got some video that he took where the water was just right at his door, but it finally it stopped rising there at a certain point during the storm. And like I said, the inside of his house did not flood. He was without power for about 72 hours. I thought at one point I was going to have to drive out there and take a generator out to him because, as you might expect, all the big box stores are sold out. Home Depot, Lowe's, Bass Pro Shop, nobody out there had generators, and as my understanding, they still don't have any. But I was able to find a generator here. Actually, I found several here in this area and in the Fort Worth area, and I was getting ready to go ahead and buy one, just take it out to him. Fortunately, last night, sometime middle of the night, he said it was probably around 1:30 a.m. When their power came back on. So thankfully, he's got his power on, got his electricity on. However, they did lose everything in their refrigerator. All they have right now is canned goods and dry goods, in the cabinets. They do have food, but the grocery store shelves are bare, as you might expect, again. And so it might take a few days for Publix and Winn-Dixie and all the grocery store chains to start restocking the grocery stores out there. If it looks like it's going to be an extended period of time before they're able to get stuff like milk and butter and meat, then I'm ready to pack up all these ice chests with as much as I can put in them and head out there. And so we'll see. I'm a dad, and I never stop being a dad, and I'm going to take care of my kids no matter what. So if I have to go out there with all those ice chests loaded up, then that's what I'm going to do. They do have food. Like I said, they have dry goods and canned goods. So, I mean, it's not like, they don't have anything. And if that was the case, I mean, I would not be recording this video. I would already be on the road. But like I said, they do have food, so they're good, and they'll be good for several days. And like I said, by that time, hopefully they'll have the grocery stores restocked, or they'll be on their way to restocking the grocery store shelves. So with all that said, let's talk about the boat now. As you might understand, I was very concerned about my son and my grandkids and daughter-in-law, and really wasn't able to focus on this for a few days there, so I just set this aside until we were able to put our minds at ease that they were okay. However, before all that happened, before Ian made landfall and all, I was out here working on the boat, and I did get to a point where I finally got this side of the boat ready for paint. It is all slicked out, faired out, sanded out on this side. I just have to finish the other side of the boat, and I still need to address the center cap. I'm fixing to do that here shortly. Once we get all that sanded out, and I'll be ready to paint the bottom of the hull, and then, like I've been saying, I'll get the boat flipped back over and we'll start working on the top side. All right, folks, I'm going to go ahead and get busy. I need to start mixing up some resin. I'm going to go ahead and put a little layer of that red mud on that center cap right there, and I'm going to get that done tonight so that I'll be able to get out here tomorrow and start sanding on it. All right, I will catch you in the next segment. Okay, and I'm back, and that will do it for the night. Believe it or not, I did lay some red mud on that center cap. I just put it down really, really thin. Now you can see a little bit more evidence of that back here, but again, I just put it on like a glaze coat. It's on there really, really thin, and all I really want to do is just get that weave knocked down right there and get it filled up so that I'm not actually sanding down the fiberglass. We'll just see how it works out tomorrow. And I had enough of that mud left over so that I was able to come back and redo an area right here. It was a little bit rough right in this area here, so I just used what I had left to just put another skim coat over this, and the same right here. I don't know if my lighting will let me show you this. Let's see, yeah, maybe right there. Started to reapply some of that red mud down the sides back here, because again, after that first coat that I applied, oh gosh, maybe a week or so ago, it was still a little bit rough. Had some high spots, low spots, as you can see right there. And so I just used that leftover red mud to start skimming that out and to just build up the low areas so we can get a nice smooth finish. All right, that's all I can do for the night. I'm going to go ahead, shut down the garage. I will get out here and start sanding on this stuff in the morning. We will see you then. Okay folks, I'm back. And I've just been out here this morning applying another glaze coat of that System 3 over this area between the strakes on this side of the boat. And as you can see, I missed a spot. No biggie, no sweat. I'll come back and take care of that later. Same goes for the center cap. Earlier you saw where I laid down a layer of that red mud on the center cap there. And it was pretty thin, as you recall. It was so thin it didn't even turn it red, but we're still working on that. I put down some of that System 3 on this half. I'm just going to work it one half at a time. I'll come back later. When this dries, I'll pull some more from this side and overlap it, and then come back and sand it, and I may have to come back and touch that up a little bit. And same down the sides here, just trying to finish out the sides, get it smoothed out. I've got this area back here from the float pod to about forward edge of this strake right here. That's almost done. Still have to smooth out this little panel right here, this little strip, and then of course we still have to work the forward end right there up by the bow. And again, the lighting's kind of playing some tricks there when I transition from the shade in my garage to that bright sunlight. But anyway, that's what I've been working on this morning. Still got a little ways to go, but we are getting there one step at a time. All right, I'll be back. Good morning folks, I'm back. And I've decided to go ahead and wrap up this video right here. This whole process, it's taking just a little bit longer than what I had hoped it would. But I'm grinding away at it and I'm getting there. And I would say that right now, rough estimate, I am about 80% done with all the sanding and the fairing. Now, I did have to apply some of that System 3 fairing compound to this section right here. I just gave it a good glaze. Talked about that before, just give it a glaze coat. And same right in this area here, I did have a little bit of pitting, had some of the fiberglass weave poking through. And over here on this side, where I had previously mentioned that this side was done, I did find some pinholes, so I just decided to just give this whole little area right here a glaze coat also. And I just ran out of the fairing compound right here, so I'll have to mix up some more when this is all dry, and then come back and then patch in this little section right here. But that's it for now. Like I said, I was hoping to be a little bit further along. I actually hoped that in this video I would at least have started painting the hull, but we didn't get that far. Hopefully in the next video you'll see me as I get ready to prep and paint the bottom of the hull here, because like I said, I am anxious to get that done and to get this boat flipped back over. You can see all of my sanding residue right here, the dust, the pieces of sandpaper. So I've been busy. That's all I can tell you. But anyway, like I mentioned before also, I did kind of have to set this aside. I thought I was going to be taking a trip to Florida to take some stuff out to my son after Hurricane Ian passed through. They're recovering. They're getting back on their feet out there. And he uploaded some videos on his channel of just some of the areas that were flooded out there, and I'm going to post a link to that in the description box down below. So folks, until next time, like I said, hopefully we'll be painting in the next video. We'll see. It just is what it is. All right, folks, God bless you all. Thank you all for watching. Thank you to all my subscribers. And as always, in all things, to God be the glory.